Article 14 of the Hampshire Constitution's Bill of Rights. Legal remedies to be free, complete, and prompt. Every subject of the state is entitled to a certain remedy by having recourse to the laws for all injuries he may receive in his person, property, or character, to obtain right and justice freely without being obligated to purchase it, completely and without any denial, promptly and without delay, conformable to the laws of the land. But what does Article 14 really mean? Well, clearly it's written in the symbol, and clearly it means exactly what it says: legal remedies to be free, complete, and prompt. Every subject of the state is entitled to a certain remedy by having recourse to the laws for all injuries he may receive in his person, property, or character. Clearly, right there, that is written in the civil and not the criminal. It would relate this whole entire passage to encompassing civil matters, which the state is currently constitutionally devoid on. To obtain right and justice freely without being obligated to purchase it. Clearly, that states that the state of New Hampshire, by way of the court, should not be charging people initial fees to do lawsuits or anything of the nature, and it would also include that into the criminal, and be saying that the public defenders should not be charging people for representation, because clearly you do not have to purchase law without being obligated to purchase it. That's exactly what you have to do in order to do a lawsuit. For a fact, if you make X amount of money in order to do a lawsuit, you have to purchase it, just like everybody is purchasing a public defender to be paid back later. And that's just, it's an egregious violation to Article 14 of the Hampshire Constitution's Bill of Rights. Completely without any denial, promptly and without delay. But what does that really mean? I think it means exactly what it means. The state of New Hampshire wants to go forward with the complaint completely and without any denial, promptly and without delay. They just can't have the very offset of a complaint lawsuit right within the nature just kind of throw it away or say no. Or potentially the AG just kind of saying everything is a civil matter, because I believe it would be their responsibility as the attorneys general to deal with these civil matters. So clearly it is someone in the state of New Hampshire's responsibility to deal with them, when the state of New Hampshire is clearly constitutionally devoid on. It says conformable to the laws of the land, but the laws of the land are not being carried out. This is the law of the land. This is the presiding law of the land. And the state of New Hampshire has not made up the laws to be conformable to. The state of New Hampshire's laws are not conformable to Article 14. The current process of denial and having to pay to even get something forward goes against Article 14. What happens to a lot of people now is they can't get their complaints forward. The town hall won't take it, the police won't take it, and simply the courts won't take it, or someone lacks the legal ability to write those things through and do the hours and countless hours of research to find the case cited. Because when you say things in court, you need to support those with a citation, and that's basically another case that sets a precedent. And hopefully yours is the latest one that just happened, and someone doesn't find one that just overrides yours, because that is the game that's played. And if someone doesn't know that game, they just can't move forward on their own without the $10,000 or $20,000 or more dollars to pay a lawyer to go forward with that lawsuit. Basically, they've taken the law away from the people. But what should be happening, you should be able to basically say, I have this going on, this is my complaint, and then a lawyer or at least somebody to counsel you steps forward to help you put that forward. But what shouldn't be happening is immediate denial, because these things should be done promptly and without delay. So if someone was to call the Attorney General office, for example, and they say, sounds like a civil matter, well, who would I speak to then? Where would I be directed to? And there would be no answer. There is no answer. There is no established organization, division in New Hampshire that deals with this. I would say that this fault lays almost solely on the Attorney General's office. I would say also it lays with, the head 5 presiding judges. Clearly, this is their realm, and they should know that they shouldn't be charging people access to lawsuits. They should not be back charging people for public defenders, or they go to jail. That should not be happening. It's clearly in Article 14. It clearly says otherwise. So clearly, I would hold the Attorney General's office responsible, the Attorney General himself particularly, because his office does not deal, at least allegedly, with civilian matters. And I say that based upon their words to me multiple times. The head judges, they should know better than all this. Very obviously they do. I can look through their own case cited on reclusion stuff, just like to see if someone recluses themselves on something, And you can see Judge Lynn himself reciting these articles. So clearly they browse through them, they know exactly what they are, and don't think for a second that I have not addressed some lower judges to them in the same way that I'm addressing you now to them. So the judges and the courts are clearly constitutionally devoid, and it looks to the point, I would say, at intentional, and same with the Attorney General, because hard to believe they didn't brush through these paragraphs that are our Bill of Rights that seem to be the core root and the cornerstone of them being, a top judge, presiding judge, or the Attorney General. I mean, you could lay some fault on the legislation a little bit. Maybe they did get the ball rolling on this at some point, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 100 years ago. I've been meaning to do the deep historical research to really track that down and see if there was a point where the state did become constitutionally devoid in Article 14, because I'm assuming when they set it up, the courts operated, in that fashion. I went to court and said these things, and the clerk would be like, oh, let's get somebody, instead of just immediately denying your paperwork, saying things like, well, where is the state of New Hampshire? For example, when I wanted to sue the state of New Hampshire, couldn't take my lawsuit. I didn't know the address. I didn't provide them with 3 copies either. And also they said it was the inappropriate venue, even though another venue that denied me told me it was that venue. A little game they play. And that is the game they play. So when they go conformable to the laws of the land, that's something they're trying to bind you into. But the laws of the land are not conformable to Article 14. They're supposed to happen completely and without any denial, promptly and without delay. That's how they're supposed to happen. That's how the laws are supposed to conform to Article 14. The lower laws that just get set up recently do not get to warp and bend them. That is not something that they go, write a paper to the town hall, the chief, and then we're just going to deny it. Write a lawsuit to the court. They're going to try to charge you hundreds of bucks, which they can't. And then they're just going to try to deny you in the smallest little legal nuances. It's like, actually, no, you're supposed to provide, law to me. That means by giving me a lawyer, maybe in a smaller claim or something like that, at least counsel or something, but 100% is not denying it, allowing it to push forward. And that is 100% what's supposed to be happening. Basically, the state of New Hampshire is completely wildly devoid on Article 14. I would say to the point where it just stems from, I would assume, pure corruption, because the top judges and the AGs should 100% know about Article 14. The people have the right to law, and right now that is being denied to them in a way, and all these things stack up to a network of things that are far out of being conformable to Article 14. The laws of the land must be conformable to the overall presiding law, which is our Bill of Rights. And right now, all someone does face is having to purchase law in denial. And I would consider the AG themselves the chief culprit.